Welcome to Z's and Threes. And first and foremost, shout out to Texas women's basketball. Hook 'em horns on to the Final Four, a spot in Tampa after the win over TCU in the regional final. Shout out to Madison Booker, Rory Harmon, the whole Burnt Orange gang. I have called many a Texas women's basketball game over the years, worked the sidelines as well. So it's great to see a well-historied program and my alma mater back where they belong. Showdown looming against Dawn Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Let's talk NBA. 8 games across Monday night slate. The races to watch are in the Western Conference. 2 through 8 is stacked up, and there was a huge full game swing happening out in LA between the Lakers hosting the current 2-seed Houston Rockets. We'll get to that. All the news and notes, everything that you need to know. If you do like the show, please do like, subscribe, share with a friend. Let's catch you up. Group chat game of the night. Group chat game of the night. It came in requested to go back to the OG group chat game of the night chant. So there you go. Group chat game of the night. You see it on the screen. The Houston Rockets, the LA Lakers. Massive in the Western Conference seeding battle. If the Lakers have designs on anything higher than the 4, well, they want to get up to the 2. This is a full game swing. Got to do it with this one. Houston, the toughest remaining schedule of the current top 4 teams in the West. Really, we're concerned with 2, 3, and 4. 6 of the last 7 games for the Rockets are against teams over 500 or at 500, including this one against the Lakers. I'll break down the Houston schedule later. Lakers, 5 of their 8 games left against teams with records above 500. 3 of those are at home. LA, they have the second best home record of all teams in the West, trailing just the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was a defensive first quarter, 19-16. The Rockets would lead. The offense picked up in the second. Teams hit the lockers 48 apiece. A Rocket 5-point lead in the third disappears via a 16-6 Lakers run. 3-point Lakers lead under 2:30. So we're into clutch time. LeBron James has a dish to Rui Hachimura that has a dunk to make it 195 LA. Rockets come back. Amen Thompson has a lay-in off the glass, 197. Hachimura airballs from 3, but the Rockets cannot capitalize, turning it over themselves. We're under 30 seconds now. Lakers go to LeBron, who is blocked by Alperen Şengün, and it leads to a Dylan Brooks runout. He's fouled on the drive. Already a recipient of 1 technical on the evening. Lakers fans giving it to Dylan, the villain. He misses the first, makes the second. It's 198. Lakers lead in ball with 20.1 left. The Rockets are forced to play the foul game. Lakers make them 2 from LeBron, 2 from Dorian Finney-Smith. Lakers get a 104-98 victory. 2 things took away from this outcome, or leading to the outcome. It was huge contributions from Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent off the bench, 20 points from each. And brutal shooting nights for Jalen Green, who went 4 of 13. More on him later. And Fred VanVleet, 2 of 14. The Rockets, they hang their hat on the defensive end. They're going to bring you into a bar fight type of game. They're the 6th best defensive rated team when you take out all of the blowout games. 6th best defensive rating. Nights like that from their 2 starting guards, though, a combined 6 makes on 27 attempts. It's going to be a tough path to victory. Jalen Green, as I've said, continues to me to be the barometer for the Rockets' success. Can he shoulder the majority of the scoring load? Lakers, they won tonight in spite of quiet nights from their trio, 20 from Luka, 16 from LeBron, 12 from Austin Reeves. As a team, they only shot 39% from the field, but 16 of their 35 makes were from 3. It was an ugly game, but ugly, pretty. Take them however you can get them at this time of the year. How that shifts the Western Conference standings picture, well, we will get to that in standings. All right, so if you're liking how I'm flowing, you're liking the bars, giving you the updates, please, if you're not yet, do like and subscribe, share with a friend. Help us get to 100 subscribers before we hit playoff time. If you're listening on podcast, give us 5 stars. Go over to YouTube, subscribe there, share with a friend as well. All right, rest of the slate. Let's talk big dogs first and foremost. Those are the big dogs, best teams in the league. The best team in the league, the Oklahoma City Thunder, hosting the Chicago Bulls. Bulls, the confidence from their 4-game win streak, punctuated by that giddy game winner against the Lakers being tested. They have a 1-point loss Saturday against the struggling Mavs, and now having to deal with the juggernaut that is the Thunder. Oklahoma City puts them in the defensive blender. They force 20 turnovers, score 34 points off of those turnovers. The Bulls' MO continues to be live and die by the 3, and it was death tonight. 145-117, they lose as they go 16 of 51. Over half of their 98 shot attempts are from behind the arc. The Thunder shoot 53% from the field, 54% from 3, which will win you a lot of games. 27 points, 12 assists for Shea. Who's calling my phone? Yeah, if you didn't get the thumbnail, go watch the Drake Nokia video. He stars in it. A Canadian Toronto man himself, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. 10 straight W's now for the Thunder. 70 is still a possibility. They would have to win out. How about this for the Thunder? Handling their business against the Eastern Conference. 28-1, their record against the East. The lone loss has been against the Cavaliers. Other big dog in the East, Boston, Memphis. Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies trying to stop the tailspin, consecutive losses. But more concerning, they have not beaten a team with a record above 500 since February 2nd against the Milwaukee Bucks. They would have their work cut out tonight hosting the defending champs. The champs getting into their bag, building some momentum, 8 in a row, and Boston was looking to make franchise history tonight. There were 9 lead changes, 6 ties until a 25-18 fourth quarter gave the C's enough breathing room to seal the deal. 25 points, 14 rebounds for Jason Tatum. Ageless Al Horford scores 26 on, check this, 6 of 13 made threes. Al Horford is a 3-point specialist now. 14 points, 10 assists, a double-double for who I think is the key to the Celtics repeat, Derek White. How he can continue to play. Set a single-season franchise record for 3-point makes for the Celtics tonight. That wasn't the historic part. The historic part, well, that was one part. But the bigger one, it was the first 6-0 road trip in Boston Celtics history. The previous best was 5 wins in a row, February of 1973. This season's team has tied the franchise record for road wins with 32. The NBA record is 33, so they have a chance to get there. The Grizzlies, they are 3-7 over their last 10. The reporting is that the move to fire Taylor Jenkins, it is to tailor the offense further around Ja Morant, to make his game fit into the offense and to make Ja happy. So that's what the word is. The interim head coach, Tomas Izalo, I went and I got the pronunciation guide. Thank you to the Memphis Grizzlies game notes. He is Finnish. He's from Finland. Tomas Izalo. If he will be the coach moving forward, we will find out. Will yet another opportunity to beat a team over 500. The Grizzlies cannot do it. The Celtics get their 9th straight victory. 6 of their 7 remaining games are against teams with losing records. Celtics really catching a heater before the end of the regular season. All right, handle your business games. Sacramento, Indy. Kings trying to find some semblance of momentum, clinging to the 10th and final seed in the West. The Pacers, they have firmed their control of the 4 in the East, but only a game and a half. So Pistons, Bucks can still get there. Pacers, 18-10 their record against Western Conference teams. Kings are 8-10 against the East. The game had 10 lead changes, 6 ties. Sacramento has a 16-point lead in the third. Wild lead swing alert. 23-8 Pacers run from the 8:47 mark on as they close it at the free throw line. Zach LaVine takes an end of game 3 that makes it look closer than it was. 111-109. Tyrese Halliburton had 18 points in the game. 11 of those came in the fourth quarter, including a clutch late 3. Team high 24 from Aaron Nesmith. Kings back-to-back losses. They are 3-7 over their last 10. The Pacers 7-3. You watch the Kings and you're like, man, they could really use like a De'Aaron Fox type point guard. They need point guard play. LA Clippers, Orlando Magic. This was another defensive throwback game. We had one last night, two teams under 100, and it was not surprising tonight to have one with a game that involved the Orlando Magic. Back and forth, there were 15 lead changes, 6 ties, until the Clippers built a 10-point lead with 5:29 left in the fourth. They would keep the Magic at bay. No hocus pocus tonight. 96-87 LA wins. Team high from getting in his bag, getting ready for playoff time. Kawhi Leonard, 20 from James Harden, 18 points, 20 rebounds from Ivica Zubac. If you're a fan of a team in the Western Conference, would you like to play the Clippers? If you are a Clippers fan, you let me know how you are feeling about your team. Clippers, they have the most remaining games against sub 500 teams of all the Western Conference playoff hopefuls. 5 after tonight, 4 of those at home. They have a very favorable schedule. I'll also tell you more about the Clippers when we get to standings. Talk to play-in posse. Teams that are in the play-in: Miami, Washington. The Heat looking for win number 5 in a row, finding their groove in the post-Butler breakup reality. The Wizards, a good team for the post-split rebound. A 120-94 dub for the Heat. 28-12-5 from Bam Adebayo. 27-5-5 from Tyler Hero. Brooklyn, Dallas. Dallas trying to stay in the play-in mix. Brooklyn content to not win another game the rest of the season, but it did not play out that way. Anthony Davis did go for the Mavs back in Dallas. 28 minutes, but shot just 10 times on his way to 12 points. It was the closest game of the night. 19 lead changes, 16 ties. A 10-point Dallas lead early in the fourth evaporates from a 23-9 Nets run over nearly 7 minutes. Mavs had 2 looks, down 2 to take the lead with under 10 seconds left in the game. Klay Thompson, Spencer Dinwiddie can't get the threes to go. Nets prevail 113-109. Game high 24 from just who you thought, Keon Johnson. Lottery land. One final game, Utah Jazz, Charlotte Hornets. Jazz made history tonight as well, and not in a good fashion with tonight's loss. Prior to this season, they were the only NBA franchise to not have lost 60 or more games in a season. Tonight, they hit the big 6-0 to a franchise that has lost 60 or more games 5 times, the Charlotte Hornets. 3 as the Hornets, twice as the Bobcats. Yeah, you remember the Bobcats? They are 4 losses away, the Hornets, this year's edition, from making the 60-game loss threshold. Tonight, it was 110-106, 26 points from Miles Bridges. For all the talk of expansion, the Hornets are an exceptionally bad franchise with horrible culture. Their coaching staff, their ownership, granted, they've gone through some changes, and they are trying to change it. And talent does matter the most in this league. But even the best talent cannot overcome bad culture. And regarding the Jazz, it just feels like a long, proud franchise is stripping things down completely to the studs with their new ownership, Danny Ainge in the front office. But it is a long road, it feels, to relevancy for both of these franchises. Great uniform matchup, though. Best race that remains across these 2 weeks, it's the West, and it's West 2 through 4 and 5 through 8. Let's start with that top home court group. We already know the Thunder, they've secured the 1. The Rockets lead the pack a game and a half over the Nuggets. The Nuggets now have a game over the Lakers. Rockets and Lakers will meet again April 11th in LA. That will decide the season series. It's 1 apiece. Nuggets and Lakers do not play again. It's 2-2. The season series is split. The tiebreaker would be division winner, which the Lakers are on pace to win the Southwest Division. They would have the tiebreaker if they were to finish with the same record. Nuggets and Rockets close out the regular season against one another on April 13th. So, probably unlikely that will happen, but there are games remaining between these 3 teams. Tough docket, the toughest for the Rockets. You better take your freebie Wednesday night against the Jazz at home, because from there, the Oklahoma City Thunder, at Golden State, at the Clippers, at the Lakers, and then the finale against the Nuggets. With the Lakers win and the Grizzlies loss, that 4-5 gap is now at 2 games, not insurmountable. 5 through 8 is tighter than a Las Vegas to LA Spirit return flight on Sunday night. Memphis, a half game above Golden State, who's a half game ahead of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the LA Clippers, who are lockstep at 43 and 32. The Clippers could be the 8. They could finish as high as the 5. A lot to play for those teams and a lot to watch when those teams face off against one another. The Dallas loss and the Sacramento loss, both are still ahead of the Suns. More news on the Suns and Kevin Durant when we get there. Mavs by a game and a half. The Kings by just a game. With the Magic loss and the Heat win, they're 5th in a row. The gap between those two is just 1.5. And I'm sure glad that they don't play each other down the stretch. It's a 4-game season series between division rivals. It finished between the Heat and the Magic. On January 27th, they split the season 2-2. Why do we have divisions again? We'll get there in house shoes. The Raptors, they're the only team remaining in the East contention to swipe the Bulls' 10 spot. They are trailing by 5 games, but they do play each other Tuesday night. Heavy Pour, leading scorer of the night, presented by Portland Water. Check them out. Drink pdxwater.com. And we have a new player to welcome to the club, Jordan Poole. Pouring in 35, he became the Wizards' single-season three-point makes leader. He passed Bradley Beal. If you wondered, the new mark being 228 made threes. Give Jordan Poole a no-trade clause. Why not? Dunk of the night, we'll go with Derrick Jones Jr. He had a rim destroyer with a two-handed putback off of a Harden miss. Performance of the night presented by Contract Year. Play in your contract year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's having quite the contract year. He will be earning himself a super max for the presumptive MVP. We know the scoring prowess. Doesn't go over 30 tonight, partially because he was serving and not the looks that he was serving in the Nokia video, but assists, a league-leading season high for SGA 12. The Thunder had a single game season high with 39 assists as a squad. Week 23 NBA Players of the Week. See, I'm not the only one that's watching or talking about the Houston Rockets young star. Jalen Green got the big contract prior to the start of the year, but there was some play for it incentive in it, and he has played for it. Team goes 3-0 over the week 23, 28.7 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, but not quite enough for my fantasy opponent to take the title out of my hands. In the Eastern Conference, Paolo Banchero with a 3-1 record, 30.3 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 4.3 assists per game. And I saw a writer that I do respect out in the basketball Substack sphere talking about the opinion of potential front office, I believe is how it was presented, but it was citing some stats for empty calories PB, that he is not an efficient scorer and that potentially the Orlando Magic should consider trading Paolo Banchero. I'm not with that. PB is one of my favorite young stars, and I think as his game will continue to develop, he will get better and he will get more efficient. But I was talking about him settling for the mid-range a la Carmelo Anthony, and within an area that a lot of analytics departments and coaches don't want to see players live. Well, in week 23, he lived pretty good, 30.3. These are your 2 NBA Players of the Week for week 23. Week 22, Western Conference Player of the Week, if you remember it, was Kevin Durant, and he had a nasty ankle sprain and will be out at least a week for the Phoenix Suns, who are trying to get into the play-in conversation. But at this point, you have to ask, is it even worth it for the Suns to bring him back? If you're a Suns fan, let me know down in the comments. Have we potentially seen the last of Kevin Durant in a Phoenix Suns uniform? I'll tell you, man, he has been cooking, though, with the kicks lately. Suns 2-11 without Kevin Durant, 33-29 when he plays. Pelicans, they are finally waving the white flag, a team injury-cursed season. Remember, they were the 8th seed last year. They lost to OKC in the first round. They announced today they'd be shutting down Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum for the rest of the season. How about this for Zion? Wash of a year. Disappointment of a year. Just 30 games played after a career-best 70 last season. Zion has been in the league now for 6 years. He has sat out the entirety of his third, but he has 3 seasons of those 6 with 30 games or less. 41 different starting lineups for the Pelicans this season that was doomed from the get-go with the DeJounte Murray injury, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy III. It's just been injury after injury after injury for a very talented Pelicans roster, but those two, we will not see them until next season. The Kicks King has some more time to bring heat to the court. PJ Tucker, hook 'em horns, you already know. 2 10-day deals with the Knicks have been converted to a 2-year deal, staying through the remainder of the regular season and on through the playoffs for as long as the Knicks can go, with the team option coming for the 25-26 season. That's next year. He won a title with Milwaukee in the 21 year. Another NBA star, finally, last news item, is going back to college. Trae Young, he was named the assistant general manager for Oklahoma men's basketball. Similar to the recent announcement for Steph Curry and Davidson, Trae Young has pledged $1 million donation to the team he played college ball for. In the role, he will assist with the evaluation of high school and transfer portal prospects, help negotiate player contracts. Yes, collegiate player contracts, we are there, and provide guidance for players in building their brand. It is a whole new world in collegiate sports. But shout out to these former players going back to their universities or alma maters. I don't believe Trae Young has graduated from Oklahoma yet, or at least it wasn't referenced. My bad if you have, Trae. But Trae Young, Steph Curry, will we continue to see more NBA players reaching out and acting as ambassadors to then bridge the gap to get talent into their collegiate programs? I think it's a good thing. House shoes, and I busted out a classic today, top 10 shoe all time for your boy, and that is the Neon Air Max 95s. 30th anniversary. I had them in 95. I had them in 2005. RIP to that pair. The sole crumbled. Wear your shoes, folks. These are the 2015. They came out February 20th of 2015. You can see on the Nike tag there. And I hope to get them for the 30-year anniversary, but it sounds like it's going to be a tough cop. They're starting to pop up. Saw they did a release already over in Japan. Let me know if you're trying to get the Air Max 95s. In fact, don't try to get them, so I have a better chance at getting them. Let's talk changing the schedule format. I always try to come with positive, constructive, solution-based criticism in this space of house shoes. There are way too many people that are rallying for what is negative and what is not currently in the NBA. Because yes, there are some remaining storylines that are intriguing across the regular season, but is nowhere near the drama that is needed to build momentum going into the playoffs. How many of y'all's group chats are hitting? We're actually talking about the group chat game of the night. Yeah, that's where we're at. Teams are limping across the finish line. They're load managing. The injury report PDFs are finding more entries than ever. We have schedules that are so unevenly balanced, and you're going to get that. I understand. It's 82 games, 30 teams, but with the cup game additions, the dynamic scheduling because of the teams that then make the cup rounds and having to add games, things have gotten far too out of whack. The NFL, they knew what they were doing when they decided to close the season with division games. Those in the NFL mean the most. In the NBA, divisions barely matter. I already told you about the tiebreak. Winning your division can be the tiebreak if teams finish with tied records and they've split the season series. Head-to-head is first. From there, it can be winning the division. But everything else outside of that, in terms of winning the division, it is pointless. It used to lead to a home round of the playoffs to begin. So it didn't matter if you finished 7th in the West. If you won your division and it was weak, you got to start the playoffs at home. NBA went away from that. And it is beyond time now for the NBA to go away from the current scheduling format. It needs to be done before even considering any form of expansion. We have to make the games that we already have matter. I know that the owners, that the players, they're never coming off 82 games. We will get more games before we get less. But there needs to be more continuity, more value, and less tanking. You cannot be 2 weeks left in the regular season and teams have shut down players. We're hearing CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson. I just told you about that for the Pelicans, but there are plenty that have already soft tanked going back to 2 months left in the season. I've presented plenty of ideas, and feel free to ring me up. Who's calling my phone? Hit the Nokia. I'm not playing Snake League office. Adam Silver, I will pick up. I have plenty of ideas how we can reformat the schedule. Some of those I'm sure you have already heard, and maybe we are kicking around, but what we have is definitively not working. You need to build hype. I think that we are in store for an epic playoffs. I think that this race is wide open. The West is still to be determined, but you want to get people building momentum, talking about the league, and right now with the scheduling as is, it's not working. It's time for a change. What to watch Tuesday in the association? There are 7 games, and there are 2 major ones in that Western Conference race. First off, in Denver, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Will there be suspensions? I don't know. I didn't see anything today yet from the fracas that happened against the Detroit Pistons. But the Timberwolves, they're 3-0 in the season series, the team that bumped the Nuggets from the playoffs last year. The season finale in the regular season in Denver. And also Memphis hosting the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors now within striking distance to try to overtake the Memphis Grizzlies and move into that 5 spot and be guaranteed in the playoffs. 5 other games as well. If you miss any of the action, as always, we got you here at Z's and Threes. Please do hit the like and subscribe button. Help us get to 100 subs before the end of the regular season. We appreciate you, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace.